had teased it a little bit earlier, but there's a new study that has revealed the true age that your adult brain is developed, and it is not at the age of 25.
Get out of here.
Do you know what the age is?
I don't even know.
You don't know what the age is, bro?
32. They say it's 32.
All right. You dropped the bomb then. It is 32, you guys. 32 years old. Does that sound accurate? Is that an accurate thing? Yeah. We're going to end up talking about it. I real quick just want to take a pause for the cause and hear from our lovely sponsor. But that's like the question, y'all. First question. Do y'all honestly believe that? I have a story here from Vogue.com. Shout out to Vogue.com. That talks a little bit about how they came to the age of 32 and what this really, truly, honestly does mean. So hold on.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm thick-cut bacon sizzling on your stove. And while you were over there smearing your bagel, this little piggy went on a splatter spree. And if you don't have the right home insurance coverage, you'll be crying wee over this fire in your home. So get Allstate.
Contact Milwaukee Allstate agent Cindy Johnson today at 414-445-2558.
Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
And we're back.
Beautiful. On this little 30-second break, not me seeing that Michelle Obama was at the Brandy and Monica tour stop in D.C. That is so fabulous to me.
That makes sense.
Oh, that tour is something else, man. You got our forever first lady there. Crazy. But anyway, you guys, yes, it is true. An article has now come out and everybody is talking about it. Yes,
you guys, it is true.
What is so funny?
It's just how you phrase that, bro. Like, yes, it is true. Breaking news. Like.
It is breaking news. Because for the longest time, y'all, we thought that the brain was fully developed at like 25. We kept telling people and they like early 20s. We're like, oh my gosh, it's okay if you're making crazy decisions because your brain isn't fully developed until the age of 25, y'all. But now let me read to y'all what Vogue.com says after this study has come out. So I'm going to read it real quick for y'all. So stick with me. All right.
Talk to him.
So for a long time, it was believed that the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for decision making and impulse control, didn't fully develop until the age of 25, which is when we'd become proper adults pretty much. But this isn't actually true. It was often a repeated myth that probably stemmed from an old study in which scientists looked at brain scans up until the age of 25. But no matter what, we heard that 25 was the number, and they're saying that we just ran with the number since they only did the brain scans up until the age of 25. However, now, you guys, a new study, according to researchers at the University of Cambridge, who scanned the brains of around 4,000 people between the ages of 0 and 90, the brain stays in its adolescent phase up until our early 30s, which is when we actually peak. So we're not actually fully adults in our brain, in our mind, until approximately 32 years old.
So you just continue to keep growing until about 32.
What do you mean you keep growing?
You keep growing.
Like your brain isn't fully developed until about the age of 32. Yes, you're still in your adolescent brain. So now let me break down the study a little bit more to you guys.
Okay,
so it was published by Nature Communications, and the brain evolves in 5 broad phases throughout our lives, split up by 4 pivotal turning points. All right. So the first one is the childhood brain. How old do you think that childhood brain runs from?
I would assume until 18.
No. So the childhood brain runs from birth until a turning point at the age of 9.
That actually makes sense. Like that makes sense to me, bro. Because I remember feeling that change when I became 9 years old.
Oh, okay. In your brain, you felt it?
Yeah, bro. My imagination literally clicked in more.
Oh, wow.
I'm serious. I'm so
okay.
serious.
Well, hey, that's when it says that it transitions to the adolescent phase.
Interesting.
The adolescent phase is from like 9, 10 until right up until the age of like 32.
Really? So,
yes.
So wait,
that's the second phase.
You telling me that both, basically, we're all still children until we're 32.
Not necessarily children, but technically you're still in the same phase.
Okay, now.
You're still in that same like kind of phase. And so, They say our early 30s see the brain's neural wiring shift into adult mode. This is the longest era, which lasts over 3 decades. Now, a third turning point is around age 66 that marks the start of an early aging phase of brain architecture. And then finally, the late aging brain takes shape at around 83 years old. So those are like the points,
so
pretty much.
32, 66.
Yeah, and 83.
And 83.
Yep.
That is actually very interesting numbers, man. Very, very, because I get into the numerology and stuff.
I know you do.
But at the same time, in other like civilizations, preferably, actually, I think it's the Japanese culture, they have somewhat of the same philosophy, except for they believe that, let's see, what is it? You have 4 different cycles of life. Oldest is 88. 66, 44, and then 22. So basically, they do like 22 intervals of your age years, and that's your actual growth process. But it's interesting that these scientists have came out with this now. I wonder what new research they'll tell us about to update us with,
right?
To give us more accurate information.
So what they're saying now, though, is when it comes to this new age of 32, they're saying that it would be more accurate to say the brain's architecture stabilizes around this age of 32, and it doesn't hugely change again for another 30 years, which was at 66. So this corresponds with a plateau in intelligence and personality based on other studies, says researchers. So pretty much what that means is after 32, you get more stuck in your ways, which is pretty much why they're saying that whole phrase of you can't teach a dog new tricks, because when you're like past 32, now that we're finding out, that's kind of when you start settling into like who you are, what your morals are, what your values are, and it's harder to change that in you without actual real evidence, I guess. It's not as easy to manipulate you moving forward because you're kind of just stuck in your ways.
Because it's basically your neural pathways, and I don't know how true that is though either, Juice. When you talk about not being able to teach an old dog new tricks, because I understand from what we're talking about now that basically your neural pathways in your brain have kind of already made their pathways, is what you're saying. And you can't make any new ones. But if that isn't the case, or you'll always think from that framework or that frame of mind, is that more so what it's alluding to?
Yeah.
Like the framework in your mind that you've already placed in there, you will always somewhat think in that version.
Yeah, you're kind of like building off of that.
Oh, that's the foundation of you. That's interesting, man. Very interesting, dog. Because I have so many different questions about this, and I wish I had like a lawyer to talk to. Because
lawyer?
Yeah, because now it makes me think like if the new age that your brain is fully developed at is 32 years old, should we still be sentencing, teenagers or kids to life in prison? Their brain hasn't even fully formed yet, but yet they got X amount of years.
I'm just wondering now, like, should we be basing laws in general just off of how old you are, or like where your brain is? Like how should we actually be making certain laws up? Because back then they were like, 18 is the age of where you're legal, right?
Adult age.
And then 21 is the age where you can drink. And then 25 is the age where you can rent a car. It's like, I just feel like they're kind of making up these ages as they go. Because what was the point for saying that 21 is the age that you should be able to drink?
That's
like if now we're saying that we thought 25 was the age that your brain was fully developed, but now it's just like 32, which is crazy to me. Because like I think of teenage pregnancy, and I'm like, bro, if you had your baby as a teenager, your brain really wasn't developed yet.
That's why personally,
and it's babies raising babies.
Yeah, I really don't agree with the whole babies raising baby things. Like when you become a teen mom or a teen parent, I just don't think that you're giving your seed enough DNA or enough information to pass down so they can actually grow and prosper and be the person they're supposed to be. Not to say that there's not, scenarios and cases where, this person was a teen mom and had a kid, well, yada, 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 that person grew up to be successful. But I'm saying for the totality of all of them or whatever, I think those types of children are the children of teen moms and teen parents are the ones we talking about when we talk about these YNs out here, not having no sense of direction or knowing anything because, genetically the mitochondria wasn't able to pass down enough information to the sperm cells so that sperm cell could grow up and be a viable human being. That's just my belief. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I'm right in my mind, okay?
In Ben Jammin's universe.
Yeah, in Ben Jammin's universe, I'm correct. So just think about that though, but it really does, bro, draw the point to me though, Juice, like makes me think about those types of things and philosophies that we have lived by, laws we have lived by, to, the degree of should we change these things now because people are, not fully developed until age 32. Hell, should we even stop living off of free, off these pretenses thinking that, hey, I should be married at an earlier age when again, you're not fully developed. People want to live their lives and stuff in their 20s, but truly, it seems to me now you don't even know who you are until you're 32.
Yeah, but
so
then
these false notions we living by, these false narratives.
And I actually saw a post recently that said that the narrative was for women to get married and to have kids by like 25 or in their 20s, because once they actually get older and they're in their 30s or in their late 20s, they start to realize who they are, and they start to realize like that's actually not something that I even want to do. So they were like, you need to trick the women earlier to thinking that, their bodies are declining and that they can't have kids past a certain age and all of these things, because you want them to hurry up and just have kids and get stuck in a marriage in their early 20s, when really it's like no.
Bro, this is damn near a rabbit hole, fam, because that could be an idea to control the population, like to enhance birth rates, right? Because if I'm telling a younger woman, like, hey, it's going to be more difficult for you at an older age to have kids, well, damn, like you just said, Juice, I'm going to want to be like, hey, I got to be fruitful. I got to be in my thought years. I got to be a hoe right now.
What?
Look, I don't even care if I'm a single mom as long as I'm a mom,
What? Who is saying that?
Well, I'm just saying, it will put that in somebody's mind if they keep on being told that, hey, you have to have a child at this age.
It will make you rush things, if anything.
It will make you rush things, fall into love, maybe even a domestic abuse situation, just because you think you run out of time. But maybe, just maybe you're not. Because we're seeing all these examples pop up here and there, whether it's the Rihannas, the woman who just had a baby at the age of 75 years old. It's all these different things that research comes out with. And I just want to say this too. Because science always tends to update itself. Science is always like, okay, this is what the truth is.
They have new technologies, new studies, new people.
If we keep continuing to going off science, like I really want us to like take a look back at, historical data, historical evidence on what they done. And it always seems to circle back around, no pun intended, because truthfully, in the Greek religion, in the Greek culture or whatever, right? They had already came up with the idea that adults really don't fully form until between the ages of 29 and 32. This is already a science that was out there. America.
I did think I saw Josh say that earlier.
Yeah, Josh, your man was correct. There was already a science out there letting us know that, based off being ruled off the planet Saturn or whatever, because back then they based a lot of the mental ideas and spiritual ideas off of astrology, that Saturn spiritually inside of you wouldn't even come back around or orbit back around into you until between those ages of 29 and 32. And the planet Saturn is supposed to be, let's see, do I have anything here? It's supposed to be about discipline. It's supposed to be about maturity. Like that planet is supposed to rule those types of, values upon you, so to speak. So when it does come around to you being around the age of between 29 and 32, for you to reach discipline and maturity and have some structure to your life, is because your Saturn has returned, or you're just in your Saturn mode or whatever. But that's astrology, which is a science that's based off of the stars and planets and things of that nature.
Horoscopes.
Horoscopes. Hey, some of that stuff be hidden, bro.
The daily horoscopes.
Some of that stuff be hidden. Some of it definitely hits, and made me even think about myself, because I'm age 33 now, right? Like I'm 1 year.
Jesus,
I'm really grown out here. Juice.
You don't act like it.
I'm an adult, okay? I just want to let y'all know this.
I don't be thinking your cortex, your frontal cortex is there, bro.
That's funny.
I don't think so. The decisions you be making, I definitely question. I'd be like, maybe he's not. Maybe he's different.
If anything, over this weekend, bro, especially since I crashed my car, I'm just like, bro, I'm just finna listen to myself. Whatever my gut says and I plan for myself, I'm just finna do it. Because as soon as I decided to go for the money and not go with God, go with what God told me to do already, I ended up crashing my car. And what did I tell you earlier last week?
You haven't got an accident.
Well, that too. Oh. But I also said that when things become all about the money, that's when God walks out the room.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, okay, God can't protect you no more because you so, lustful and greedy over money, monetary gain. And that could lead to sin, could also lead to just, you crashing your car or whatever else.
Are you looking up something right now?
Yeah, there was something that I wanted to point out when it came down to like me personally, in the age of 32, 33, because I thought it was very interesting that between those ages, like these types of things started to happen to me. Like, okay, here it is actually. So, because I went to chat and asked chat, okay, how does, the age 32 thing align with me, and then also align with the ideas of, my Saturn returning or me being in my Saturn, right? And it says, look, Ben, you were born on June 6, 1992. You know what I'm saying? That means your first Saturn return ran from March 2021 to March 2024. All right. And then it says 2024 to 2025 is your integration period. All right. Which lines up perfectly with career changes. 2021, I started at the truth. 2024, I'm no longer with the truth. All right. Well, actually, 2024, I was doing really good with the truth. Whatever.
So what?
Identity shifts.
So you ignore that just don't work.
What?
Because you were saying till 2024, but you were still there.
Well, 2024, I still was there, but that was career changes, because I went from just being a producer to becoming a host. Then I was also doing so many other things in between that time, going super viral. All these things are happening. Identity shifts, relationship changes, challenges. Relationships were definitely challenging between those 3 years for me. A creative awakening happened. I became this talk show host. Spiritual depth happened for me because so many different things happened to me spiritually. I had to really figure things out, and then chasing a new purpose. I don't know if I'm chasing a new purpose. I wouldn't say I'm chasing a new purpose. I think I'm still on the same journey, but whatever may have you, these types of ideas and sciences have already been found to be proven. It's just, I think Western technology and science and research and all those things are just trying to catch up. Remember, America's only 249 years old.
That's so interesting to me because I don't be going for that sometimes. Like when they be like, oh, the retrograde, like all of that type
Mercury
of stuff.
retrograde.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. Mercury's in this. What's your Saturn return? What's this and that? And I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I understand that stuff can be real, and I understand that people base their lives and live their lives based off of what the stars are telling them to do.
Yeah.
Even how what is it called? They'll charge their rocks in the moonlight and
crystals?
stuff. Yeah, I didn't mean to call them rocks. They're crystals.
She's 12, Josh. I just want to let you know that. Noni Juice is literally 12 in real life and in her mind.
But that's just so interesting to me. But what?
No, I'm just gonna say, dog, you should just really open up your mind to these sciences, fam.
Why?
Because it's
I've
real.
opened up my mind to Jesus.
That's good. And I'm not saying
that goes against Jesus, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I don't need to be open up to nothing.
Just know a lot of those
portal. I don't need no portals. I don't need no left pig foot in my pocket. I don't need none of that stuff, bro.
Bro.
I don't need no chakras. I don't need no.
But you have chakras.
No saging. I don't be doing all that. Which is fine. I'm perfectly fine with not,
It is fine, but I would just say, just look into the science of it, bro, because some of these things are already in the Bible. We just have Western philosophy on things that pulls us away from things that are natural to who we are, especially us being black. Just throwing it out there.
I guess there's no problem with knowing the information. I guess it's what you do with the information is what I have a problem with sometimes with people.
It could be
because they completely take the science behind it. And I'm not judging nobody who do. I'm just saying it's not the lifestyle I kind of want to have. But they'll take the information that they're getting from science, right? When it comes to crystals and horoscopes and stars and moons and things like that. Cool. Y'all can go ahead and do that. But then once they learn it, they take that information and they use it to guide their life, and that's the problem that I kind of have with it, bro.
You know what it be fair?
They use it to guide their life, and they act like it's law. And cool, it could be law to you, but not to me,
bro. Nah, you know what be happening, fam, that gives it a bad rep, bro. For real, is a lot of these people who do the crystals and they do voodoo or whatever it may have you. They all end up turning into some kind of cult leaders. You know,
What?
yeah, bro. They all end up being like cult leaders in the end. Like there was this dude I was literally just listening to probably like 2 days ago. His name was like Yakim Bawe or something like that. Yakim Bawe. In the early '90s, did some stuff down in Atlanta. Anyway, his whole philosophies ran around like astrology, the gods out there and things like that. And all I said this all to say, you know, they use these sciences to bring you into a new belief system. So once you start to believe, you start to see them as your God. So I think this gives it a bad rep every time. But it goes down to what you just said. It's like you can have these sciences and you can have the type of knowledge, but it's what you do with it, which is much more impactful. Like you can use it for good or you can use it for bad. And I think that's for any and everything that's ever been invented or created.
It's like, oh, I'm not gonna make certain decisions because my Saturn is in Libra right now. It's like, come on, bro. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I just don't really lead my life that way, but other people definitely do. And honestly, at the end of the day, regardless of how old you are, I think us as people, especially Black people, we're just spiritual beings anyway.
Why do you think
like
that
we
is?
are extremely.
Why do you think that is?
Because of our ancestors.
What does that mean?
Like people in Africa, I think were definitely 100% spiritual. Christianity was there too.
Yes, it was.
In Africa, but also other little
most religions was founded
rituals and stuff that they did in Africa. So we naturally are spiritual people. So I understand that we want something to like call to, something to relate to and feel like we are connected with. And for some people, the Bible and Jesus and God or whatever religion you choose is not something that you want to prescribe to, and that's perfectly fine. It's just interesting. That's all.
Do you think Black people sometimes are being exploited for their spiritual energy? You know what I'm saying? Because as you said, you know, Black people, we tend to be a lot more spiritual than other ethnicities, right? Do you think that sometimes here in America that we are exploited for that specific energy?
In what way? Like, do you have an example?
Okay, for instance, if I gave you a book, right? I gave you this book, and was like, hey, man.
48 Laws of Power, boom.
Okay.
Yeah, you gave me 48 Laws of Power book.
Okay, I gave you 48
That's
Laws
Ben's
of Power
Bible.
book. It's not my Bible whatsoever. I actually have a Bible. I own a Bible. My Bible is not the 48 Laws of Power, but it is a manual that I would say is.
Is it the Holy Bible?
I actually have the New Testament. You know, I've had this thing since 2000 and when did I have that? 2014.
Okay.
There you go.
That's the Bible you're referring to.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the New Testament. It's what I have. It's what I got.
Okay.
Right?
Perfect.
Protects
Boom.
me.
Boom.
Okay. But anyway, the book that I give you is the 48 Laws of Power. Right?
Yes.
If I give you this book, 48 Laws of Power, and knowing that you are a Black person and how hard that you guys can believe in things and things can actually manifest into fruition. Damn.
Are you talking about white people giving us the Bible back when we were slaves?
You know what?
Was that what you were referring to?
Why not? Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that white people knew that we were spiritual?
Yes.
Like, you think all of them knew for a fact that we were just spiritual beings, like from back in our ancestral
I'm not going to say
times?
all of them, because I know some of them were just ignorant and didn't know exactly what was happening, and they acted out of ignorance. But the people that definitely knew our history for sure knew what was going on and knew that if I took away, you know, your idols or your people that you truly believed in, and it got you to believe in another God, that, you know, possibly you guys could channel something that could be utterly destructive.
Well, then I'll say, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think like use it for control for sure. Like if you believe that they 100% knew for a fact that we were spiritual and we wanted something to like cling on to like believe in, especially during the tough times that we were going through, and the fact that we were ignorant on top of that, couldn't read and all these other things, and they used that to have more control over us, then yeah, I will say they exploited that idea for sure.
Yeah, because it's just all these different.
I saw Sinners, Josh.
Sinners was a good movie, but it's a lot of sin in that movie if you want to go that route. You know,
that definitely was. People were saying, don't go see that movie.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that Michael B. Jordan, you know, is a voodoo priest, you know, legitimately is crazy and baffling to me. You know, like, I don't know who he prays to at night, you know, but he's in the movies.
You're talking about the actual actor or
I'm talking about
his
him.
character?
No, I'm talking about Michael B. Jordan is a voodoo priest. High ranking, actually.
In real life.
In real life.
Oh, okay, got it.
In real life, no fake at all. This is real.
Yeah.
Okay, but he more than likely worships the Yoruba religion, you know. And again, if you are into African ancestry, stems back down to Benin or Benin, however you pronounce that, over in Africa, which you know, voodoo is a real religion. Again, it also speaks to how, you know, we can channel into different spirits and things of that nature.
Yeah,
you
see,
know?
I don't
But then
be
again,
dibbling and dabbling in that Ouija board stuff.
Well,
Because
see-
that's what I think of whenever I hear about people, you know, tapping into those types of things.
And I'm not going to lie, as you know, connected as it says it is to our ancestry, you know, in Deuteronomy, it also goes to say why we ended up being a cursed people, you know, because we started to glorify other gods and worship other gods, you know, and not actually, you know, God and the Son of God, which is, you know, it's crazy. But again, you know, that's why folks realize you can't listen to nobody who underneath the age of 32. Okay, because they're not even old enough to have this kind of conversation.
But see, that's why I understand what the science is saying, but I don't know if I believe that. I think your life experiences truly shape you, because there's a lot of people who's over 32 who's still very immature, like going out partying at the clubs in a snowstorm at 45. And
That's
it's
real.
like, come on now, where is that prefrontal cortex kicking in there to get for your decision making and things like that, you know? So I honestly, truly feel like life shapes you and your experiences shape you. That's why some people can be really innocent still when they're like 35, but versus if they're like 18 and they had a really rough life growing up, they had to be super hyper independent on themselves. Like, they're definitely going to grow up a little bit faster and have to learn things a lot quicker for sure. So I understand what the science is saying, but at the same time, I truly think life experiences truly shape who you are, what your mindset is, and all of those things.
Life experiences do shape you, and I will not negate that. I think that at the end of the it's not even I think. I know for a fact that life experience is invaluable. You know, however, you know, how you decide to articulate those things as you grow older, as you grow a deeper understanding for all those things that may have happened to you or happened for you to grow into the person that you are, will be articulated and understood and even appreciated at a different level, depending on what level you are at mentally, you know, and in life. Like, you know, there's people out here right now, even for myself, I remember being age 21, 22, feeling like I knew a lot about life, and Benjamin at 22 would have swore up and down I knew everything I needed to know, right? However, as I've grown and life experience has happened to me, it has formed and shaped my reality, you know, into a new one, to the point where now I understand life to a bigger and higher degree. And I'm mature enough to understand and accept the things, you know, I cannot change, and understand the things that I can change, you know, and have the sincerity and the courage to, you know, give it up to God. But it's just one of them things, man, where I saw NLE Choppa try to sit down with, who was it? It was
Kirk Franklin, Jonathan Majors, Kev on Stage, Ray J, and it was like a preacher guy thing or some other guy in there.
Some ex NFL football player. But those are a whole bunch of grown men. NLE Choppa in his mind felt like I was a grown man, because where he from, being at the age of 22, 21, something like that or whatever, is already old where he's from. However, as he grows in life, he'll start to understand, you know, the conversation he was trying to have with those men and how he could relate that conversation better when he is at that age. Because, you know, same time, like I said before, you know, you need to have life experience to have certain conversations, you know, and it's an invaluable, man. You know, it's one of them things where people can read a book and go to school and college and all those things. Like, you can be super duper book smart, but when real life happens, what are you going to do? Because that book ain't there no more. You have to realize, go ahead and move off, make actions based off the experiences that you had before, you know.
Trey Tay said, my dad always told me some people grow older, but they never mature. And that is facts. So what's up with the brain then?
Yeah.
Is this saying that your brain is, if you're immature by 32, that you just stay immature for the rest of your life?
I think some people just refuse to grow up. You know, I think, not even I think, I
Millennials.
know. I know for a fact there's people out there who just refuse to grow up, because as age comes and you do get older, you have certain responsibilities. And some people, you know, decide to suppress those responsibilities. Like, I don't want those responsibilities, where it may be kids, where it may be finances, where it may be even taking care of themselves. I don't want to be responsible for it. So if you're not going to be responsible for it, I personally don't see how you can grow from things if you're not going to be a responsible human being. Because in my mind, even when I became the age of like 2021, my thing of it was, look, I have to take responsibility for my life and things that I've done. Look, say what you want, Juice. I always take
You
responsibility.
talking about responsibilities?
I take responsibility for all the things that I have done. I may have not done.
Are you talking about being accountable? Being responsible for it?
Being accountable and being responsible for those things, for sure.
Because being responsible for those things, don't it mean you do them?
Being responsible means what?
Like you're a responsible person?
Being responsible, I would personally say being responsible for those things. You may have let a few things down, but I still held myself like, dang, like I was supposed to do those things.
Like accountable.
Or hold myself accountable. I think those are kind of like intertwined, being responsible and accountable. Like, look.
I don't think so.
Okay, talk to me.
I think being accountable for sure is like, okay, dang, I didn't do this thing, and so I'm holding myself accountable to me not doing that thing. But being responsible, it's like you are the reason, like you do it. You know, like I'm responsible for that. I'm a responsible person. I get the things done that I need to do. Like that's my responsibility, and I do that thing as my responsibility. But being accountable is whether you did it or not, you're going to own up to the fact that you were supposed to be responsible for it.
But this is where I say those are kind of interchangeable, because a lot of times people would, instead of, like, I could switch out the word accountable. Like, are you going to hold yourself responsible for X, Y, and Z, right? Are you going to hold yourself accountable for X, Y, and Z? So just because you may be a responsible person and complete something 100% doesn't mean that you haven't, fell short from time to time and still didn't hold yourself responsible for that. Like, for instance, when I got into my car accident over this weekend, I had to hold myself responsible. I was the only person out there driving. Act of God, wherever it may have you, it was my vehicle. It was in my hand. It was in my possession. I hold myself accountable and responsible for those actions that took place. So holding yourself responsible doesn't always mean that, hey, I did everything correctly. It's just I'm holding myself responsible for what actually ended up happening.
And you're saying at 21, you felt like what?
I knew that had to be a thing, that if I was going to be an adult, I had to hold myself responsible or accountable for all things that I've done. Everything. I can't look at my mom, can't look at my dad, can't look at my brother, sister, friend, nobody. I have to look at me first. If something goes wrong that I disagree with, I got to look at me first in the mirror. Like, damn, Ben, you allowed this to happen, and this was you. And partially, as I grew older, I started to feel like to some degree, that may be a, what's the word I'm looking for? That may be like, abuse on my own person. I might be abusing myself with that, because some other people should be held responsible for certain things that have happened in your life. But Ben, everything isn't just always just like, everything is me. But what I'm trying to say is like, sometimes because I hold myself responsible so much, I don't look at what other people have done sometimes to be like, damn, well, they did attribute to these types of things, and maybe they should be cut out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you might be like,
I always thought that you had interesting perspectives.
What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I've always thought that the way you think about life was just very interesting.
Okay, bro.
It's Ben Jammin's universe. Like, that's literally what I've learned. Is like the way you think of things is just in Ben Jammin's world, But responsible, accountable, whatever it is, I heard that they say life in your 30s is some of the best times ever. And so that is something that I definitely am looking forward to.
Yeah.
In my 30s for sure. Because they're like, you level up, like you look better, you dress better, you think better, you give less F's, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't care.
Got less F's to give.
Exactly. It's like you truly are just doing for you, and I appreciate that forever, because the 20s are definitely ghetto. 20s are the trenches. And so 30s is where it's at. And so I'm looking forward to that for sure.
That is the new 20, man. I'm so fine still. Better broad, better automobile. You don't even know where
Anybody in their 30s, let me know how y'all are loving being in your 30s. Like, let's say you 34, 35. You like your 30s so far, Ben?
Honestly, I appreciate my 30s, man.
Okay.
I think my 30s have taught me a lot more about myself than my 20s have. Ever since the age of 30, like seriously, it's taught me so much more. And I mean, ultimately, I have leveled up in certain ways. Not in all the ways that I would like to level up, but I have made progress in my life. So I can only be thankful for that.
No, facts.
Mhm.
Facts. But that was the conversation about.
What about you?
What about me?
Like,
I look forward to my full 30s. Like they say like I said, they say it is the best time.
Yeah.
Like at least the women be saying that. I don't know what men would be thinking.
Nah, we level up because
but I don't hear y'all talk about it that much.
We don't gotta talk about it.
Okay.
But I mean, if you listen to Jay-Z, you would
suppress them emotions. Suppress. I'm a man. I don't need to talk about how much I love my 30s. You just gonna see it.
Well, if you listen to Jay-Z, you would know that he made a song called 30's the New 20. So listen to that off Kingdom Come. And I mean, ultimately, I feel like in your 30s, you just got more control over your life. Like in your 20s is one of them things where like you literally trying to discover everything. Like, oh, I didn't get to do this when I was 14. Let me go do this. Oh, I didn't do this when I was 16. Let me go do this.
Now I got some money.
I got a little money. I got a check. I may be check to check, but I'm living. You know what I'm saying? In your 20s, that's how you living. You know what I'm saying? But in your 30s, I think you just have that much more control and you're much more grounded into who you are. Again, relating back to this whole, your brain isn't fully developed to your age 32, or if you believe in the whole astrology idea about your Saturn returning between the ages of 29 and 32.
Get those sage out.
It's one of it's one of the things where, again, you just feel more grounded because you know more of who you are, and then you also hopefully have understood like who your friends are by this age. Because at the same time, I've said this time and time again, I think when you're a kid and you're developing friendships, that's one thing. But as you grow older, in between your 20s and even your 30s, it's much harder to develop friends and have friendships and stuff, and just to be able to take those things seriously. So, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Oh, Sincere said 40 years is your best years. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I don't know yet, Sincere. But when I get there, they better be my best years because I'm still alive by that time, So hopefully, I'm still living in my 40s, which I'm certain I will be. I think I'm gonna live to like 88, fam. I want to live to be 100 though. But 88 is really where I'm trying to be like, you know what? Thank you so much, God.
That's interesting. 40s are the best years.
It could be, man. Oh, Josh Man said, Jammin, I'm with you, brother. I get where you're coming from, and I respect Noni's point of view for sure. Let's visit this topic when she get around 30. She going to say the same thing we all saying. And
which is
honestly,
what?
I believe you're right.
Which is what?
30s are your best years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like they will be.
Can't you agree?
Yeah, I feel like they will be.
Can't you agree?
No, I can. Like, for real. I have heard all of the things that 30s is where it's at. But Trey Tay said, we don't need to talk about it, LOL. Men level up in their 30s. Most women depreciate if they don't take care of themselves.
Most women depreciate.
How women get thrown into Trey Tay?
I mean, that's real. Trey Tay ain't
How
lying.
women get thrown into it?
Because men age
Saying
gracefully.
women depreciate in their 30s? That's crazy.
There are a lot of women who do depreciate in value.
In
for
what
sure.
way?
Spiritually and physically. In
their 30s.
For sure. I've seen it. Especially if you're white. Okay? If you're white, you don't have that much time. And I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry, you really don't. You're gonna fall off. You're gonna feel like a raisin is happening. You're the raisin. But if you're a black woman, I say you probably got to about your 40s. But again, you need to be making certain.
And see, this is why they be saying men need to take away.
Shout out to
we need to
JG.
take the podcast mics away from men because how women get thrown in it.
It's not a podcast.
I'm saying in general.
Not a podcast.
It's a microphone.
It's not a podcast.
It's a microphone.
It's not a podcast.
We need to take microphones.
This is the morning stream.
We need to
you better respect the morning stream.
We need to take microphones away from men because y'all over here talking about women depreciate in their 30s. What you think men do? You think men is going to the gym? You 33 right now. When's the last time you hit a gym, brother?
What does that mean?
When was the last time you picked up a weight?
Are you trying to attack me?
Yeah, I am at this point. Yeah. Because y'all trying to attack women, saying we depreciate in our 30s.
See, this is what happens.
Ain't hit no cardio or a treadmill all year. What are you talking about?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Y'all be depreciating.
Look, I think you can depreciate on both sides, but I think that men have it better. I'm not going to lie. Men, you know, especially when you get to your older ages, you could be in your 40s, you know, as a man and still look good. And you can still be out there, you know, dominating women.
If you think men don't also depreciate, that's crazy.
I didn't say that. I just said that men do depreciate. I saw some dudes fall off. I saw a dude.
I'm saying Trey Tate talking about like, oh, men level up while women depreciate in their 30s.
Most men do level up.
That's not the truth. Women level up too, though, in their 30s.
I think it's a little more rare, though. I think it's rare.
How is it rare?
I want to see.
How would you know?
I want to see.
I want to know. How would you know? Where are you basing that off of?
I've seen a lot of women in my lifetime. I've seen
Racine women.
I've seen some.
You talking about Racine women?
I am talking about universal women. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about women across the universe.
That's crazy.
All right, that's what I'm talking about right now.
That's crazy.
I've seen women level up, and I've seen most of them depreciate in value over time. It happens, and it's okay.
And what in value in what way? Their looks? Is that what you're talking about by depreciate?
I would
just
say,
their looks get different?
I would say
they get a little bit more wrinkly?
I would say spiritually and physically, especially if because women, for whatever odd reason, hold on to, you know, a lot more negative emotions throughout their lifetime versus men. Men, we know how to just let things roll off. You know, women, they hold on to those things. So if they hold on to it for too long, now they grow older and they grow bitter. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, then turn into a cat lady. You might be a cat lady one day.
I'm done with the conversation. Let's go to the rabbit hole.